Hi, this is Elia Nikolaev with Jiu Jitsu Nutrition. I am a registered and certified yoga instructor and a yoga therapist for nearly the last 14 years of my life. And my training and education comes from both the Eastern and Western traditions. In the Eastern, it was more of an integrative approach of both the Iyengar, Ashtanga, and the Desikachar lineages. And in the Western model, I've had apprenticeships and tutelage under some very prominent MDs and physical therapists such as Rachel Krentzman, Dr. Larry Payne, and Dr. Lori Rubenstein Fazzio. I've had a clinical internship with Dr. Larry Payne and Lori Fazzio, which was a Western approach to treating patients in a clinic setting using these yoga techniques. And that's really kind of the definition of yoga therapy. There's something that's very interesting about the history of martial arts and the history of yoga. And if we look back to it, centuries ago when the art and the practice of yoga and meditation was carried over to other Eastern countries, China, and then from there Japan, it's understood by some that this is where martial arts was first synthesized and collected together. And the traditional purpose that we want to be able to understand of yoga and why it pertains so well, so perfectly to jiu-jitsu is because ultimately the traditional take on yoga is that we train the body so that we can meditate effectively. And to translate it more to our Western language, what it says is that if we have imbalances in the body, that is ultimately going to continuously drain the cognitive and mental and emotional power that we have and that we could better allocate to other sources and other destinations, such as practicing martial arts and jiu-jitsu effectively. And so if our body hurts or if there's an imbalance somewhere, that's going to ultimately undermine everything we do in life. And not just in the domain of martial arts, but anything that we do is going to be undermined by any of the body's imbalances. So yoga is the practice of setting things right in our physical body so that our mind can, of course, work correctly. So meditation training is really attention training. And you can look at this, you can break this down into any skill set. The main difference between somebody that's skillful and somebody that isn't is that the skillful person has better focus and applies more attention. And that's really the rock bottom of any success story. And if we look at it a couple of steps further, what we start to understand is by balancing the body, by making it strong and flexible, we ultimately allow ourselves to not be drained emotionally and psychologically. And so what this means essentially is that we're able to relax. And this is what we know in martial arts and specifically in jiu-jitsu. It is the ability to be in an intense situation, to be in an otherwise very emotionally tense circumstance, and control our emotions and control our mind and actually induce more relaxation so that we have all of our agents at hand and we have all of our faculties on call and ready to be utilized, whether it's training with a partner or it's in a competition or even if it's just managing your everyday life. And this is the underlying symmetry that when we see between yoga and jiu-jitsu, we actually see that this is the symmetry between yoga and anything else that we do. And of course, as we know, practicing jiu-jitsu requires a lot of flexibility. So in the video series that you will be looking at and studying in the future, we will look at some of the most important parts of the body to create more flexibility and more balance in that really have the most demand when we're on the mat. And it might go without saying that the mat can really be a metaphor for life. And some of you that have seen results in your jiu-jitsu, it is not surprising that you've seen similar results in your life. So as you excel in jiu-jitsu, or as you excel in yoga, you ultimately excel as a person, as a human being, in all of your capacities. So enjoy this practice. Give yourself time to practice, to repeat, to understand. It's the same thing as when we show up to the mats. Practice is really the fundamental ground of any success. Thank you.